Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Welcome back to the show. So listen up, we back in the game. Sweep the league, we got the plane. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get it in every way. Right from the two on the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweep the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every perfect rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, it's Rain Fernandez, and you're watching Sweep the League. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Facebook at Rain Fernandez, RAYNE Fernandez.
We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL Music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand stronger. We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL Music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand stronger.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
All right, guys, welcome to the Throwdown edition, the Thursday Throwdown edition of Sweep the League. Rudy Campos Jr. going to be joining you tonight. Hopefully, we'll have Hall of Famer Derek Gervin and Coach Gio here in a little bit. Nonetheless, it's going to be a great show tonight to kind of go over a little bit of the football weekend coming up. Got a great weekend of football coming up, both college and NFL. We're going to talk a little bit about baseball, give you an update on the baseball brackets. Haven't really talked much about baseball. I know it's the playoffs, so we're going to get into what two for the final 8 now. The Mets just beat the Brewers to win that series. They go on to play the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of preview, I guess, of the final 8 here for the MLB. Also, kind of go over what we've been doing here at Sweep the League. Also, some other announcements regarding the network. So, nonetheless, man, we got to get into it here. Appreciate everybody joining us here tonight. Eric Jacob Erickson here. Leha, what is up? What the hell's up, fellas? Been on the grind lately. But we in the building tonight. Y'all stay blessed. Leha, appreciate you, man. You know, shout out to Leha, man. He's been number one, you know, one of the top supporters, number one guy right by my side from the very, very beginning. Appreciate everything he does for us here at Sweep the League, man. Anything we can do for you, you know, we're here for you. Appreciate you joining, man. Same for me, Jacob Eric. Yeah, definitely. Of course, Tar Heels. That's why I didn't wear the hat tonight. I'm kind of disappointed in my Tar Heels, Sam. They said when you run a business, you make whatever hours you want. They allowed you just work 24/7. Yeah, unfortunately, you work 24/7. Bear down. What is up, Louie? He says, agreed. Jacob Eric, go Padres. We're going to talk a little bit about baseball. And Tim's wondering, what is baseball? Well, Tim, baseball is America's pastime. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here on Sweep the League against Rudy Campos Jr. It is a Throwdown Thursday edition. Let's see. What do we start with tonight? We got life happenings. We've got baseball. What do we got? We got football. You know what? Let's do a little bit of baseball. All right. So the MLB playoffs are kicking off. They have kicked off, actually. So the first round, you know, basically you saw the Mets take on the Brewers. The Mets beat the Brewers in a best, it's 2-1. So obviously, you know, best 3. You had the Padres beating the Braves. They swept them 2-0. Also, you had Kansas City sweeping the Orioles 2-0, and Tigers swept the Astros 2-0. So next round, you've got the Tigers and Guardians. You've got the Yankees and Royals. You've got the Mets and the Phillies. You got the Padres and Dodgers. Man, that Padre Dodger series. You want to circle that. You want to circle that Padre and Dodgers series. Loving it. Loving that series. Otani, you've got the Padres. Dylan Cease is a pitcher there. Machado, Tatis. That's just a star power series there. Mets coming through, the amazing Mets coming through. They're going to play the Phillies. I have the Guardians winning the World Series. They're my team. I talked about that with Gio last week. They're going to be the team I'm rooting for in the MLB playoffs. So give me the Guardians to win the World Series, but also the Royals and Yankees. That's going to be a great series as well. So you guys tell me what you think as far as MLB goes. Let's go ahead and bring in the Hall of Famer himself, Derek Gervin, who's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame on October 18th. Literally a couple of weeks away, 2 Fridays away. He's going to be going in to UTSA's Hall of Fame. Derek Gervin, let's bring him onto the show right now. What's going on, Derek?
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm pretty good. It's been a weird Thursday. I'll be honest. It's been a weird Thursday.
It is a weird Thursday, and I just heard what you said about the Guardians. I believe that's the team in Cleveland.
That is the Cleveland Guardians, formerly
playing the hottest team in Major League Baseball, huh?
Yeah, they are. I mean, and the Tigers were left for dead, basically. I mean, they weren't supposed to make the playoffs or anything. They got in. They made quick work of the Astros, but I like Cleveland. One of the better teams in baseball this year. I'm not gonna lie; it kind of feels like a Padre Yankees World Series is what it's going to probably end up happening. Maybe a Dodger Yankee World Series, but I don't know, man. Just give me the Guardians. I'm a former Ohioan for a little bit, so give me the Guardians. Why not? I mean, you may as well, man.
Well, I said it was going to be. I thought it was going to be the year of the teams that's supposed to win. So I thought it would be the Dodgers and the Yankees.
Yeah.
But as you know, and I gotta say this, Rudy, I just was watching the Mets game, right? So I posted on Facebook. I said the hardest thing to do in baseball is to get those final 3 outs. And I swear, 30 seconds after I said that, Pete Alonso went yard for right field for a 3-run homer.
Yeah,
so
I saw
way
that.
to go, Mets! What a game! You talk about, man, the last 3 outs. I don't understand it because, as you know, the Houston Astros usually do that. You can get them all the way down to that last out. And then they might score 6 or 7 runs with 2 outs. It's amazing.
You just said it. Amazing. Back in the amazing Mets. Well, the amazing Mets back then. What was that? It was Strawberry Gooden, Keith Hernandez, Gary Carter.
Mookie Wilson, catcher. Gary Carter. Yeah.
Mookie Wilson. You're right. I forgot about Mookie Wilson. Man. Hernandez. Yeah. That's oh man. That's a lot of players back there with the amazing Mets, man. Nonetheless, it sucks, and I apologize, Derek. I'm sorry because Cleveland's paying Detroit. You're a Detroiter. I'm going for Cleveland. We're going to kind of be on opposite fences.
Look, man, we're not on opposite because I'm so happy already. Just the fact that the Tigers were ridden for dead a month remaining in the season, and they were like 9 games out from just getting a playoff spot. And then to go on the run that they went on. So it's been a good year so far in Detroit, and hopefully the Lions can duplicate it and continue to have a great season.
Yeah, and Chris is in here. Says, it's still puro pinche Astros. They'll be back next year. I think their biggest question, obviously at manager. I think manager is the biggest question, but also re-signing Alex Bregman. That's going to be a big one. They're always going to be there. Let's be honest. The Astros have they have a good team. They got a good farm system. They're always going to be there. I think the Rangers prospects are probably in Texas, probably a little bit better than the Astro prospects, but not by much. So I agree with Lehawk. Astros.
The rest of it's going to be exciting.
Oh yeah, see, he's a Padre fan, Jacob Eric. He's a major Padre fan. He hates the Dodgers. Similar to me as a Giants fan, I am no Dodger fan at all. So give me the Padres on that. And UTSA legend Derek Gervin to talk college football. We're going to talk college football today. I promise. It's Thursday. It's our Thursday preview show. Rudy, it's Detroit UTSA legend, Derek Gervin. Okay, we'll correct that part.
Padres. You being so nice, you're scaring me, man. Thank you.
What does Tim want? Does Tim want sticker? We got Sweep the League stickers. You can only get them at Big Texas Comic Con coming up.
Tim wants an Ariana Robertson interview. And so do I.
We're working on that.
Yeah, we're working on that. You see, we're making stuff happen. So I believe I talked to her. Her dad actually wrote me earlier today. We didn't talk about Ariana today, but just the fact that he's still reaching out to me, that we're going to make that happen.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that is. And Leja's obviously not a Dodger fan at all. They're going to fold quickly. I have the Padres in that series. The Padres are a hot team right now. They've got the bats. They've got the pitching. I mean, I'm going Guardians is what I said, but like I said, I feel it's going to be a Padre, maybe Yankee World Series, and that'll be a World Series to remember.
So tell me this though: what if Ohtani ends up pitching a little bit in the series? What do you think?
I hate that. I hate the fact that he would. The guy is coming off of Tommy John surgery. There's no reason why he should pitch anywhere. I don't care if they need one out in the bottom of the ninth. Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do
it. He's too valuable. Yeah, you give a guy a $700 million contract.
Yeah, it was almost $1 billion contract.
They're not going to risk it. They're not going to risk it.
I mean, the guy put up a historical 50-50 season. There's no reason
MVP,
why.
Though.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge, I don't know, because I think they're going to lean towards Aaron Judge because of Shohei being a designated hitter all year. And then Aaron actually playing out there in the outfield. I think they're going to give it to Aaron Judge, and it will be well earned.
Well, I mean, isn't it American League MVP, National League MVP?
So yeah, but who's the best player? Because I had if we just best player, who's been the best player this year overall?
Oh man,
Judge hit about 56 homers, didn't he?
Yeah, he was 56, 57.
Shohei hit 54, but if you look at over the season, Aaron Judge has been really consistent. I will give him the slight edge just because he's playing out in the field as opposed to just being a designated hitter. But then again, Shohei did still 59 bases and thrown out like 4 or 5 times.
I was gonna say, it's gonna come down to one thing for me: who was more valuable to the team? I think the Yankees win without Judge, with Soto, Stanton. And the Dodgers don't win without Ohtani. So I think it kind of goes more Ohtani when it comes to the better player in baseball. But you're right. I mean, he's not in the field. So let's put it this way. They give you a gold glove for a reason. So we'll leave it at that when it comes to the field part. But
both of them have magnificent years. So
yeah, I mean, outside of the home run stuff that we saw back in the past with Sosa and McGuire, it kind of reminded me of that. Just two guys going back and forth. Pretty much MVP, best player in baseball all single season. I mean, yeah, I think it's going to be a Padre-Yankee World Series. I want the Guardians to win, but, inside of my heart tells me Yankees, Padres. Padres are just way too hot right now. Way too hot, so I'm going to go with them right here. Again, he says just watch. The Dodgers are going to fold. Big weekend for this Saturday, ACC Syracuse versus UNLV. Very big game right there. Miami, Cal, Duke, Georgia Tech. Nobody cares about Duke. Virginia Tech and Stanford, SMU, and Louisville. Yeah, definitely got some big games this weekend. See, Leja thinks Alex Bregman's going to be gone. They've got bats. They've got players they can bring in to replace Bregman. I don't know. I think he resigns. I think he actually does resign at the end. So media day for men's and women's basketball is next week. We'll get into that. I hope they all lose. Yeah, Leja wants all these teams to lose. How about we just let them all tie and just let the season end like that? They've already played way too many games, man. This is Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr. here on Sweep the League. So just kind of to recap, we talked to Mario Ellie last Friday. That was a big thing. Last night we had a major discussion, a great show with former NBA GM Pete Babcock, and we got some insight from Pete Babcock in regards to Red Auerbach and Chuck Cooper. If you didn't hear that story, I didn't know that story about Chuck Cooper coming into the NBA with Red Auerbach. I had no idea how that all played out. Pete gave us a great story, and he's got a whole bunch more that he wants to talk to. So letting everybody know, if you didn't see the show last night, go check it out. Also, Mr. Babcock is going to be back on the show. He wants to come on a couple more times to talk more NBA history, NBA basketball. So that's going to be fun, Derek. Just a great interview overall.
You know you're doing something well when you can get a guy like Mario Illy to stay on for the entirety of the show. We even end up extending it about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you got the legendary Pete Babcock, who, if people check him out and read up on him, he's a very significant guy in the NBA as well. And he's a humanitarian. And you talked about his award, a big award that he received. So it's getting better, man. To get these people on the show means we're only growing.
Yeah, that's really all it means. We're growing by leaps and bounds, man. So I appreciate all the support. We're at 596 subscribers on YouTube, 4 away from the big 600 in well under 6 months. That's amazing. We appreciate everybody that subscribes. And that just shows with the more subscribers, the more support we get, the bigger guests that we get. So we're working on other guests coming on the show as well. Not only in NBA, we're working on NFL, MLB, even the world of bowling. I mean, I got a global shirt on here. So even the world of bowling, professional bowlers, which I know a few of them. So we're getting a lot of people here at Sweep the League. But it's Thursday, man. It's Thursday. It's preview Thursday. I think Gio is still recovering from the Bama whooping that his Georgia Bulldogs got. So that's probably why he's not here tonight. But nonetheless, it's you and I, Derek. It's going to be, let's start with NCAA. We'll go with NCAA football first. We're just going to do what we normally do on Thursdays, just go over a couple of the games, maybe get a couple of picks in. But our final picks don't come till tomorrow. Let's get into our NCAA football talk. All right, so our NCAA football talk here. We've got some games to go over here. Our top 25 schedule. You're seeing Syracuse going to UNLV, number 25 UNLV. I'm assuming they're already getting over the whole NIL thing that happened with Solak there, and UNLV played just as well without him. So this is a good game. I like this game here. You got McCord for Syracuse. He's having an amazing year. It's going to be the battle of the quarterbacks here. It's a game that I'm definitely going to be watching. You got Michigan State at Oregon. Oregon gets kind of a little bit of test there. They are at home. One of the top 25 games, Missouri, number 9, going to number 25, Texas A&M. That's going to be a big one. SMU, Louisville, UCLA, Penn State. Georgia is at home against Auburn. That's never an easy game. And the Fighting Hoosiers are on the road against Northwestern. Something that Gio was telling us, you've got to watch for this Northwestern team. It's possible that Indiana gets upset. I'm hoping they don't. Got to love us some Indiana Hoosiers, Iowa, Ohio State, Ole Miss. Going to South Carolina, which that could be a loss for Ole Miss. They could be on back-to-back losses here. Number 1, Alabama going to Vanderbilt. Clemson visiting Florida State. The struggling Florida State Seminoles. Utah State at Boise State. Baylor, Iowa State, your Michigan Wolverines going to Washington, Tennessee, Arkansas, Miami, California, USC, Minnesota. Not a great slate of games, but there's some important games here. One of the bigger games that we're looking at here is that Ole Miss South Carolina game. We've seen South Carolina play teams tough this year. They're sitting at 3-1. Ole Miss 4-1, coming off of a loss last week. That's going to be my game to watch because it's in Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina. Very difficult place to play. That's my game to watch. Derek, going through the schedule, do you have a game where you may see is like one to watch here? Is there a certain game you have circled that you're looking at?
I'm with you. After the way Ole Miss went down last week, surprisingly to me, the way they lost, that's going to be my game to watch to see can they rebound against South Carolina because South Carolina's been playing pretty good football. I know Mississippi is favored, I believe, by 9.5 points or something. But to see them bounce back, that's going to be my big game because I want to see can they stay in that top 12. So that would be my game.
Yeah, I think this would be a good game for Ole Miss because they did come out. They're coming off of a loss, but I mean, hell, you come off of a loss and you're going to South Carolina. Like, oh my God, that's tough.
That's tough, very tough.
That's a tough one. Is it possible that we see the newly crowned top 25 Indiana Hoosiers go down in Northwestern? Gio's terrified of this game. He is terrified.
I told you I believe in Indiana.
I believe in Indiana a whole lot, man. I mean, that's a team that I really believe in right now. I have to because I called the committee cowards for not ranking them, and apparently they listened because they ranked them. They didn't even give them 25. They were like, "Oh, you want to call us cowards? We'll put them at 23 then." So I appreciate you ranking them at 23. But I mean, you got to look at Curtis Rourke, man. I mean, the stats that he's putting up, he's thrown for 1,300 yards. He's got 11 touchdowns, only the 2 interceptions. He's been sacked 5 times. His quarterback rating is 189. The kid's not even really being talked about as one of the better quarterbacks in college football right now. Obviously, you've got Cam Ward. You're going to have Quinn Ewers coming back. Carson Beck's the talk of the town. Shedeur Sanders is all over ESPN because of Colorado, because of the name. But, Curtis Rourke for Indiana, the guy's got to start getting some love. I think if he has a very good weekend, people are going to start putting him on their radar. They have to in Indiana.
They've been winning. I mean, it hasn't been a fluke either. They've looked good in their games. They look like a team that's going to be here for the duration. I don't see them dropping off. If anything, I see them moving up in the rankings. And I know Northwestern is hard to beat. Rudy, do you remember several years ago, Northwestern, when you saw them on the schedule, you just chalked it up as a win?
Yeah.
That's not anymore.
Well, let me see. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to try my best because if I remember, who is the best player to come out of Northwestern? Was that?
See, and I can only remember basketball player.
I'm trying to remember. There was a kid coming out of Northwestern.
Wasn't he a running back?
That he was a running back. Now, why did Tim Biakabatuka come out? But he's from Michigan. So, oh man, if everybody can help me out there, I'm crazy. I'm trying.
I just know it was a running back, I believe, and
it was a running back. Ah man, it was a running back. I need to remember his name, but for whatever reason, I'm thinking, oh, it's Tim Biakabatuka. But like, no, Tim Biakabatuka is
Biakabatuka. Wow.
He's Michigan. He's a Michigan guy.
Yeah, and I haven't heard that name in quite a while. Wow.
It was under Gary Barnett, wasn't it?
When he was the coach at Northwestern. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember offhand. I cannot remember the kid's name.
And actually, Gary Barnett really turned that program around, got them back to relevance.
Yeah.
And they've continued since then. They've stayed relevant, and they're no easy task anymore. Kind of like Nebraska fell off. And then you look now, they're no pushover either. So I'm glad to see some of these teams, I'll say, become resurgent, where they're getting back on the map and they're continuing to play well. The more opportunities we have for good games, that's what people want to see. No more, not the easy picks. So these are good games this weekend, even though they're not big time games.
Yeah, the Iowa 3-1 going to Ohio State 4-0. This is a big game for Ohio State. I give them crap. I've been calling them the fraud in the top 5 all year. Kind of ate my words last weekend against Michigan State. Another test for Ohio State here against Iowa. I don't really see a whole lot of upsets this weekend. I mean, you can maybe circle the Miami-Cal game. That's a possible upset.
No, not after that last hiccup.
Well, I mean, can we at least say that Miami is an East Coast team going to the West Coast? Technically, they're playing at 11:30 at night their time. I mean,
they want to be relevant at the end, man. And they I mean, if you look at the way they, I'll say, won the game.
Well, yeah, I mean,
after that, if that's not a wake up call, There's
Hail Mary
no
really
wake up calls you can get. So I think they're going to come out. They're going to be blazing saddles, and I expect Miami to win that game convincingly to show people that the last week, even though they won, that was a fluke game.
You don't think the time difference plays a factor in that?
Yeah, it does.
But
so that just tells me instead of winning by 28, they'll win by about 11 or 14.
Man, I have a very bad feeling on that game, Derek. I have a bad feeling. I think time, these players might be a little tired. I mean, it's 11:30. Miami time.
It's a late game, but you still got when a team. There's years where certain teams they just find a way to win.
Yeah,
they overcome the odds, and I think I don't think Miami's a bad enough team to have two hiccups back to back. Even though they won the last game, we know it could have easily went the other way after the refs looked at the video. But I just don't think they're going to have 2 bad weeks in a row, and I think that was a wake up call. And sometimes that's what it takes. You start feeling really good about yourself because if you remember they when the beginning of the year. Weren't they ranked like number 19?
Yeah.
And then they've been moving up. So sometimes you start moving up, like Colorado might face the same problem. You start moving up, then you start feeling good about yourself, and then boom. But I think, luckily for Miami, I think that game last week was definitely a wake-up call.
The thing with Miami is I've been meaning to ask you, did they get the call right on that Hail Mary?
Yeah, when I looked at the video, the ball, he didn't have control of the ball. And then the other guy on Miami looked like he had intercepted it at one time. Yeah. It was a tough call, and they overruled it, so they saw something we didn't see. Because, usually you have to have beyond a reasonable doubt to overrule. And the fact that they overruled it, because they originally called it a touchdown?
They did.
Yeah, so to overrule it, they saw something that we didn't see on the video when they went back and looked at it in slow time.
Man, I looked at it a few times and I thought, wow, man.
It was a tough one. I don't know. I was surprised that they overruled it, but I was so happy.
Okay, so I'm glad you said it because if I'm an official and I'm the replay official, there was not enough clear evidence for me to overturn that call. I will just say that.
Wasn't.
There was no clear-cut evidence to overturn that call. So I will say Miami escaped with a victory on that one. Maybe they will come back in a vengeance when it comes to Cal, but I think that time zone difference plays a huge factor. But again, getting scared into being your first loss can do a lot of wonders, I think, for a team.
Hey, Rudy, did you see that Dion actually got on his son? I
saw a little bit about that, yeah.
Yeah, he called Shador out, but I think he's just doing it because now he knows Shador. He's heard about Shador being in the top, 2 or 3 possible quarterbacks. So he's trying to send a message to the other players that just, get some more unity. So let me rip my son, even though I don't mean it. But, yeah, he was like, quarterbacks, we got to – and then Shador, that wasn't a great practice. You got to do better than that, man. And, all that stuff. He didn't really rip into him. I think he just said something to send a message to the other guys. Wow, he got on his son. So that means we're making progress. You try all kind of tricks as a coach.
Isn't it the Greg Popovich effect where he rips into Tim, but not really? It's a wink, wink. Hey Tim, don't do this, even though you're doing it right. Just don't do this. Don't be doing that. Yeah,
that describes Pop to a T, and Dion as well. And if you looked at the video, that's all it was. It wasn't anything major. And then he started talking about let's go back to playing like we've been playing. So he just wanted, sometimes that's what it takes to get everybody on board. Guys talk in the locker room, man, your dad this, your dad that. So maybe Dion's heard the whispers and he decided to say something to his son. But we know who he won't say anything to, and that's Travis Hunter.
Oh, no, you don't want to piss Travis Hunter off. There's no doubt about that. That's the reason why you're going to be in a lot of games. Without Travis Hunter, you're not in a lot of games. So Shador Sanders is not the guy that's going to take your team to victory. It's going to be Travis Hunter. I mean, that's That's a fact right there. Talking to Hall of Famer Derek Gervin. Coach Gio will probably be back tomorrow. We can get his pick 'em in. On the flip side of things here, we're going to get into our NFL preview talk. Also make a couple of announcements of the network coming up here. We got a lot going on, man. I know Derek knows a little bit about it. I don't know if he knows everything about it, but we've got a few shows joining the network. So we'll make that announcement here for Hall of Famer Derek Gervin and Rudy Campos Jr. We'll be back here in just a second, guys. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including patios, driveways, foundations, and swimming pools. The team of experts are dedicated to delivering exceptional results and unparalleled customer satisfaction. At MCS General Contracting, they're not just hardworking, they're local. Based in San Antonio, they are committed to building relationships and trust within the community. That's why MCS guarantees your satisfaction. They pride themselves on getting the job done right the first time, every time. So why wait? Contract MCS General Contracting today to schedule your project and experience the difference for yourself. MCS General Contracting. Building a better San Antonio, one project at a time. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League.
Are you a hockey fan looking for the latest on the Edmonton Oilers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and NHL news of the week? Barry and Carson Best bring it all to you on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. They break down games, provide insider updates, and keep you up to speed every week. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and join their hockey family.
Shemaya, you did it.
Wemby, the king is crowned. Wemby, king is crowned. Future of the league and he's wearing it proud. We playing justice, playing checkers, no contest. Wemby's got the game on lock and he's making it statement.
Welcome to the Lean Left, Lean Right podcast, where spirited debates and open discussions reign supreme. Join hosts Rudy and Shemaya as they dive headfirst into the hottest topics in politics and beyond. They're all about seeking common ground without losing their passion for their perspectives. If you're ready for real talk and honest opinions, subscribe now and join the conversation.
All right, welcome back to Sweep the League. Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, Rudy Campos Jr., and also shout out to two new shows that have joined the network, the Best Boys podcast. Barry Best and his son Carson Best, bringing you the entire breakdown of NHL. We're adding the NHL network basically to the family of shows here at the I Am Refocused Radio, Sweep the League network. I mean, we've got that show coming on board, so be sure to check out the Best Boys podcast. It's
Let's
awesome.
Go Hockey Town.
There you go. Derek and I know Barry Best very well. I mean, we worked with him before, one of the greatest guys in radio. His son Carson does the play-by-play for UTSA hockey now. So, yeah, you need that hockey break, that hockey fix. Give that show a listen. Also, the latest endeavor, we go taking a break from sports and we go into the wonderful world of politics, but not the politics you think. So myself and Shemaya Reed do the Lean Left, Lean Right podcast. And basically, we don't know jack about politics. So we talk about what we feel is, maybe what we would do. We try to get everybody's information. To be honest, it's a lot of fun. It's probably the only podcast you'll ever hear when it comes to politics where both of us can definitely have crickets behind us going off because we have no idea what we're talking about politics-wise. Yeah, we kind of have fun with it, and it comes to you every single Sunday. So it's just one show every Sunday. So be sure to look for the Lean Left, Lean Right podcast. Also, tomorrow we'll be doing our pick'ems. But Derek, it's NFL time. So,
hey Rudy, before I'm sorry, can I give a quick shout out because I saw a picture on Facebook within the last hour
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to your former coach, Keith Edmondson.
Uh-oh, what did I do?
They had Johnny Moore. They had Kobe Dietrich. They had Paul Griffin.
Yeah.
And there was a couple other players. They were out hanging out tonight, man. So to see the Spurs group, the Spurs alum, I call them, still hanging out, man. I just wanted to give those guys a shout out. And way to go, San Antonio Spurs.
Sure, give him a shout out, especially Keith. I'm hoping that one day we'll be able to talk to Keith. And Derek, I enjoy talking to the guests that we have. I always thought, man, I'd be nervous talking to so and so. I told you there'd be a couple people I would only be nervous for. One is Keith, because I don't know, man. He intimidated me back in 8th grade, and I don't know if I can ever get over that.
And I'll get him, and then the other guy who I know you want on the show is not Joseph Forte, but it's Alvin Robertson.
Alvin Robertson's another one. That's another guy that I definitely would love to talk to. Basketball, man. Just talking basketball. And funny thing, I found out that Mark Price does a podcast with Brad Daugherty.
Really?
So, yeah, I'm going to have to see. I can actually reach out to Brad Daugherty. I have his messages.
What are we going to talk about? Race, about Indianapolis 500 and...
We could. I mean, I don't know much about NASCAR, but I can definitely get down with some NASCAR talk if we're talking.
Brad's a really good announcer when he does those races. He's really good, man. And when he played in the NBA, he always was into cars, even back then.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you saw he retired at a pretty young age.
Yeah, he did.
And he loves what he's doing. So I'm happy to see him. He's just proof that we can do more than just dribble a basketball.
That would be probably the first question I ask him out of everything that I've wanted to ask anybody on that Cleveland Cavaliers team. The first question for Brad Daugherty would be like, man, how did you get interested in the NASCAR? Because to me, that is going from literally one extreme to the other. I mean, you're in basketball. I'll watch a little bit of football. I mean, we've seen basketball player go to baseball, obviously with Jordan, but to go from, here's basketball, I completely wipe my hands with it, I'm going to NASCAR. I would have never, ever in a million years thought about that.
Did you see the young kid that just retired at 21 so he can chase, he said he's going to follow the Lord?
Yes, I did.
Last name Griffin, I believe.
Yeah.
21 years old. So I want to wish him well. Great decision. I know a lot of people might not agree. How do you do that? How do you give up the NBA at 21? But he's got something that's more important in his life. And I wanted to salute that young man for that. And I wish him well.
The NBA, I never played in the NBA. You have played in the NBA. So I can truthfully say, even though I've never played in it, that lifestyle is not for everybody.
No.
You can be the most talented guy in the world. All of a sudden, one day, just wake up and say, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's a hard. Everybody doesn't love it. They love the talent that they were given, but it's a different lifestyle, and it's not for everybody. And some guys have a higher power, I'll say, and it's just not for everyone. People think it's all, it's just smooth sailing because you're in the NBA, but behind the scenes, there's so much more to it. So yeah, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, definitely not. It'd be kind of cool to talk to Brad. I'll see if I can reach out to him. Again, we're getting a lot of guests here. We're reaching out to everybody. It's getting big for Sweep the League, so be sure to join us whenever we have guests on. We recently had Mr. P. Babcock. He's going to be back on with us. Mario Ellie even mentioned he's going to be back on with us come playoff basketball time. He wants to chop it up, talk playoff basketball in the NBA. So just be on the lookout. We got tons more guests coming here. NFL time. Now, I don't like the score. I do now, obviously. 27-all, Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Go Dirty Birds. I will say, let's go Dirty Birds. Kirk Cousins, I took the under on 2 touchdown passes. Not looking good. Thanks, Kirk. You had to throw 2 touchdown passes early in the game. Kind of screwed me there, but no big deal. No worries. It's going to be a great game right now for between the Buccaneers and the Falcons. So we're upon week 5, man. Week 5 is definitely, Tim brought up a good thing. Jeff Garcia. I'm actually going to talk to Jeff Garcia after this, so I'm going to try to get him on for next week because I've got to get him on for a couple of things. So thanks for the reminder, Tim. Jets and Vikings, Derek. you've got 4-0 Vikings. And I think we're both in agreement somewhat that Minnesota has to be the best team in football right now on both sides of the ball. They just have to be.
Yeah, they're making me look bad as well as we talking about picking these games or whatever, because I told you I still had the Jets going 4-2 after 6 games.
Yeah.
But lo and behold, who's on the schedule? The Minnesota Vikings, who are starting to look like the purple people eaters. Hey, they kind of let up off the gas pedal a little bit last week.
They sure
But
did.
at the end of the day, they still got it done, man. And I already told you, sometimes the grass is not always greener, but then again, sometimes it is. And we looking at their team right now. Sam Darnold's playing. Wouldn't you have him? If we're only going by the first quarter of the season, he would have to be in the MVP voting, wouldn't he?
Yes, sir. I
Sam
have him as
Darnold.
MVP voting.
It didn't work out with the Jets, but look and see, Rudy. That's why I'm wondering: is it going to backfire on him? Is he going to be too amped up since they're playing the Jets after the Jets giving up on him? And that's what I think could hurt them the most. And Aaron's got a rebound after that 10-9 game. And, he's starting to hear the whispers of whose fault it is that they're struggling. Is it his or is it the coaches? So Aaron's going to have to step up in that game. And I'm interested to see how that's going to pan out.
Yeah, Sam Darnold right now, 3 interceptions. He's throwing for 932 yards, 11 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 118, about just under 70% completion, 68.9% completion rate. I mean, the guy's putting up stats and he's getting it done. And the thing is I can't say he's MVP candidate, like number 1 right now, because, life gets a lot easier when you've got wide receivers like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, even Jalen Naylor. I mean, people don't know about him, but even he contributes. He's getting TJ Hawkinson back here pretty soon, if not this week. Aaron Jones has been running amok on, defenses. So that's why people had asked me, do you consider Sam Darnold early candidate for MVP? I say no, because this team reminds me of what we saw in the beginning for the New Orleans Saints. It's a complete team on both sides of the ball. So if you want to give him the MVP based off of winning,
he's your Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
The stats aren't all off the board with the stats, but he's that glue that keeps everything together. And so sometimes, stats don't tell the whole story. Stats can be overinflated.
Yeah.
And if you look at that team, though, who would have pictured Sam Darnold? I mean, he's doing his job, and the rest of the guys are following suit. And they look like right now one of the best teams in the NFL. I got to give him some credit for that.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not in the MVP talk, but
he's not
don't
MVP.
have him.
Who is?
Yeah, I don't have him. Who is?
Josh fell off after that beat down. Josh definitely fell off after that game. And Mahomes is not playing like we're accustomed to seeing him play. So it's really right now you're winning by default. Who would be the MVP at this point in the season?
I mean, by default, it would probably be Sam Darnold. I mean, just by default, I would say. I'll be honest. If this guy can have another massive week, this week, why couldn't Derrick Henry be in that?
I was gonna say Lamar. Derrick
Lamar's
Henry
another one.
Really helping Lamar. I would give Derrick Henry the nod over Lamar, but he's helping Lamar out tremendously. And I think as the season goes on, Lamar is definitely going to get back in the MVP voting.
Yeah, I think so. And we all but wrote off. I know Gio and I wrote off the Baltimore Ravens, and I mean they're sitting at 2-2. They're going into Cincinnati this weekend, who's coming off of a win. They're 1-3. Again, we're not making our picks tonight. We'll make the picks tomorrow. We're just kind of previewing the NFL games, but this is definitely a game where you saw Derrick Henry coming off of 199 or 197 rushing yard game this past weekend. This is another game where he could potentially have 150, 160 on the ground. I mean, Lamar's playing not MVP caliber, but I guess you can put him in that talk too when it comes to MVP talk right now.
Yeah.
There's nobody running away with it period. Even the undefeated guys like, Mahomes struggling. Sam Darnold's getting it done, but it's more of a team effort. So, yeah, there's really no talk as to why Lamar or Derek can't be in that.
Can you believe we're talking about Sam Darnold and we don't even mention Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, that's true.
It always makes it easier when you got a Justin Jefferson on your side of the ball. But right now, it's been weird, man. You look at Burrow has fallen off. Lamar has been so-so, but he's been a lot better the last 2 weeks. Mahomes has not been great. All the team, Purdy, we know how that's gone. Purdy is Purdy. No Christian McCaffrey. It's been a weird, we said weird Thursday, and it's weird when you look at the NFL right now. None of the favorites would be in there. You might even have to have the rookie in there right now, to be honest about it. Jaden McDaniels. What do you think about it?
I mean, I don't know if I'd have Jaden Daniels in the
4 weeks
talk, but I mean, I'm trying to think of other guys I would put. I mean, I would put definitely Darnold. I would put Allen, Lamar, Derrick Henry.
Watt?
What was
Chris
that?
Jones, or TJ Watt or Chris Jones or somebody on the defensive side of the ball?
Maybe Aiden Hutchinson. I could
when
put
are they
Aiden.
going? Yeah, Hutchinson from the Lions. Hey, when are they going to start giving it? Right now, it doesn't seem fair. It's like you have to do so much for if you're a receiver or you're on the defensive line or whatever you may be, cornerback, safety. You have to do a whole lot to get MVP, and I don't think that's fair. I don't think it should automatically go to a quarterback. Go to who's had the biggest impact, and we know that's not always just the quarterback.
You're right 100% on that because, if you're Tom Brady and you don't have great receivers, but you're still winning and the ball's being spread around, 100% MVP. If Mahomes can do that, which he has done that, last year was a good example of that. All he had was Travis Kelce. He didn't have a really good receiver. We didn't know what we had in Rashee Rice till towards the end of the year. So, I mean, Mahomes is another example, but guys for like Sam Darnold, I mean, you have Justin Jefferson, you have Addison, you've got Naylor. I mean, you've got those guys. Lamar, he's looking MVP. He doesn't have any star wide receivers either, but he's got a great running mate in Derrick Henry. But I see what you're saying because these quarterbacks have to throw the ball to somebody. And if their numbers are skewed and they're big time numbers, why doesn't the receivers get the same type of love? And that goes for the defensive side of the ball. I mean, what do you have to have? 20 sacks, 20, 30 sacks in a season just to get any type of consideration on the defensive side of the ball? I mean, Hutchinson is almost 7 sacks in the first, 4 games of the season. That is almost 2 sacks a game.
1.75 a game.
Yeah, Kyle Van Noy has 6 sacks. I mean, there's a lot of great defensive players in the game. I'm not sure why they don't get any love at all.
Difference makers. Difference. I thought that's what the MVP was. Difference maker. That's not always the quarterback, and they got to start being more fair about that. I want to see somebody, the best, whoever's carrying their team and keeping that team afloat. And then, down come near playoff time, who's ever the most important guy. Even like when you think about Tom Brady, all the credit he gets, right? Yeah. And then you didn't have. Then what about guys like Julian Edelman, guys like that just continue to go under the radar? I mean, come on, man. These are guys you go to when the game's on the line, when you go for it on 4th down, and you go to these guys, the little dink pass, whatever it may be, but they get the first down. You got to start rewarding these guys.
Yeah, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I agree with you because the MVP award should be more than just quarterbacks, man. It should be, who's the biggest difference maker? If you're talking about Mahomes as an MVP candidate, but look at the days that he had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I mean, these guys were catching massive amount of passes, making his stats look even better. So I'm not saying Mahomes is an MVP candidate. He is. Obviously, quarterback gets the nod every single time. but there are other positions that need to be given some love to. I don't know if you can have technically an offensive MVP, NFL, and then you have the total NFL MVP, all that stuff. But I mean, you have offensive player of the years, you have defensive player of the years, but you're right on that, man. It sucks that you can't get an MVP as Aiden Hutchinson if he has 27 sacks at the end of the year, 30 sacks at the end of the year, just by whatever number. Does he even get a nod? I mean, does he even sniff the opportunity to get an MVP?
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, you look at teams like Seattle, Marshawn Lynch, guys like that, beast mode. And what happened when they didn't go to beast mode in the clutch? They're known. They go down in infamy now for losing the game they should have won because they didn't go to who I felt was their most important player.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a lot of different situations. You shouldn't have to have a Barry Sanders, Oklahoma State type of year for you to be the MVP, man. That's all I'm saying. Give these guys the credit they deserve.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. I'm hoping that one day we can finally get some equality when it comes to the MVP talk in the NFL. It's not like the NBA, man. The NBA, you're position 1 through 5. You're a difference maker. Your team's winning. You're putting up numbers. I'm not saying it's an easier game, but it's an easier way to get MVP in the NBA or in Major League Baseball. I mean, Major League Baseball, let's be real. I mean, you're going to call a spade of Major League Baseball. It's an individual sport. I mean, you're batting for your own cause, really. So you're putting up the numbers, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, whatever.
Hey, Rudy, you see how smart baseball was, though? They took it out. They didn't want to make it difficult, so they came up with the Cy Young Award. So they didn't have to go through that. And so it's kind of narrowed down. Now you take the pitcher out. It's kind of like, say, the point guard shouldn't automatically be the MVP in basketball. So now you're looking at a resurgence of the big man. Yeah. And if you look at football right now, the way the game has changed, the quarterback is not what the quarterback was 2 years ago when they were still back in the pocket somewhat. So now the quarterback has become more of a running back. So if you got another guy like a Derrick Henry on your team who's also a running back, I mean, they got to balance the playing field.
They got to do something. I agree. They got to do something with that because MVP, I mean, it's the most valuable player. So, I mean, how do you get love if I end the season with 130 catches and almost 2,000 yards receiving? If I have the most ridiculous wide receiver season ever, you mean to tell me that you're going to give it to my quarterback because without him, I wouldn't have made those catches. I wouldn't have gotten those touchdowns.
Or you have a Christian McCaffrey type season.
Yeah. I mean,
to be honest, I thought McCaffrey should have been MVP last season.
Should have. He should have. But you also saw that because San Francisco was winning, who did they point the finger to a lot to as well? Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy.
They were talking about Brock Purdy as MVP.
That team.
Who made more sense?
When did they get better? When that guy from Carolina came to San Francisco?
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. They became
even like when he was in Carolina, they continued to overlook these guys, Thurman Thomas. All these years, these guys have been overlooked. That could have been MVP or Adrian Peterson. I mean, at some point you got to balance it out. And it's whether it's on the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball, or Chris Jones. Those guys have got to start being in the running.
Yeah, they got to figure something out. I mean, it's hard to decide who's the MVP because great example was like we mentioned last year with McCaffrey. Oh, McCaffrey's having, this MVP stellar season. He's got to be up there. Well, he's up there because of Brock Purdy. The Niners are winning because of Brock Purdy. And now you look at Brock Purdy this year, 1,100 yards passing, but only 5 touchdowns.
5 touchdowns.
I mean, everybody argued last year, do you consider Brock Purdy what is like an average quarterback, just a guy who can come in, just kind of control the game, get it done, stuff like that? Is he really a superstar quarterback?
No.
You had the entire NFL fan base arguing back and forth. Is he a game changer, or is he just
He's
here?
a system player.
Is he a system
That's what he
quarterback?
is. Remember that question was going on a lot near the end of last season. And then
Exactly.
he had his opportunities this year to prove otherwise with McCaffrey being out, but it's the system. That's what I could be wrong, but that's what I see.
It's almost like in the NBA where, I mean, the San Antonio Spurs guys were playing for the Spurs. They were balling, man. Jaren Jackson was one. You had other guys coming in. Gary Neal. You had a guy come into Austin, Jonathan Simmons. We got a contract. He was like, you know what? He's perfect fit in San Antonio. Let me go to Orlando. Don't hear about him. And that's the thing. A lot of players don't understand that it's not bad to be called a system player. That team system works for you. It's okay. Because what happens, a lot of times players go to another team, that system don't fit. You don't fit that system. So you basically play yourself out of the league. And we've seen that a lot in, NBA, MLB as well. Not saying Brock Purdy's a system player. I mean, I think he really is just by looking at it. But then again, you could point back, well, he doesn't have McCaffrey. Debo's in and out. Kittle's banged up. It's every excuse in the book. I mean, but it's Brock Purdy, or you really don't know, when it comes to Brock. We'll have to see how it goes. One of the bigger games this weekend, Buffalo traveling to Houston, the Texans and the Bills. I mean, both teams are sitting at 3-1. Both teams are exciting. Texans are coming off a beat down when it came to Minnesota. Buffalo also coming down from a beat down as well. So this is one game I've got circled on my calendar. Stephon Diggs plays against his old team again. They're coming to his town. So are we going to see a lot of Stephon Diggs this weekend against his old team? I don't know. I'm going to save my pick'em for tomorrow, but that's one game I've got circled. Do you have another game that you have circled going into this weekend there?
Well, I'm a fan of who? And I'm not just saying it because you're saying it, but who am I a fan of other than my Detroit Lions? Isn't it Buffalo?
That'd be Buffalo.
So after the way they played last week, I have to see them rebound because I like C.J. Stroud and I like what they're doing. D'Amico Ryans, I think he's put together a really good team. But for me, that probably is the game of the week. I'm interested to see if Buffalo is going to be that team because I told you I had Buffalo first. I said the Jets, and Buffalo is my second team. So this is going to tell me a lot about Buffalo, where they stand, because that defense got shredded in the last game. So I'm hoping they could bounce back. And then, of course, the Texans haven't played great the last couple of weeks, I don't think. So one of those teams is going to get back on track. And so, yeah, that will be my game of the week for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be probably my game of the week as well. Another game that I'm watching going into the weekend is actually the Cowboys and Steelers. The old days, man. The Doomsday defense against the Steel Curtain. I mean, you're talking back in the Starbuck and Bradshaw days. I mean, these games go way back. Most recently in the big game was Super Bowl, where you had, when you and I posed the question to everybody, if Troy Aikman was on that Steelers team and Neil O'Donnell was the quarterback for the Cowboys, do the Cowboys still win that game? I think so, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because I can't underestimate Neil O'Donnell. I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes guys come out and they have a spectacular day, just like we talk about Sam Darnold, Neil O'Donnell. I mean, the guy didn't really play bad. 21-10 rating, I think that's kind of low. I know the Steelers are having trouble scoring, but I think it'll be Cowboys 21, Pittsburgh 10. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. Well, it's going to be a physical game. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I say that Pittsburgh's going to score more than 10 because I think they're going to make something happen on the defensive end. Someone on that defense is going to score probably a pick six off Dak. And I see the score being a little higher than 21-10.
I think I see it 21-17. I can see 21 points getting the win there.
Which team? Oh, we pick tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, we got to pick tomorrow. I'm still kind of debating. I like the 21-10, but I think it's going to be 21-17. My biggest question in this game is if Dallas loses to go to 2-3. There's got to be more rumblings, man. There's got to be more rumblings because
that's funny.
2-3 after 5 games, it's not a very good look if you're a Dallas Cowboy team. Not only that, if I'm not mistaken, after Pittsburgh, you've got, I'm getting it right here, you've got Detroit coming up. So the potential to see 2-4 is staring at you in the face, Derek.
So that's your moment. And my moment is if Pittsburgh were to lose, do we start hearing the conversation about Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
So Justin Fields has been given his opportunity. I even had that conversation with this woman here next to me, Justin Fields. And I told you, Rudy, I didn't like it because Pittsburgh was only averaging 17 points a game.
Yeah.
So the defense has done their part, but I don't believe in Justin Fields. There's certain guys I just don't believe in. I think he's a guy that could manage the offense, but he's not a guy that can get you to downfield with the 60-yard touchdowns. And that's what I want to see. If he loses, there's going to start being talk about Russell Wilson time.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. Just a heads up. I mean, Cowboy fans, let's be real. This is probably the toughest stretch of games you're going to have all year because you go to Pittsburgh, you come back home, you play Detroit, then you hit the bye. So the potential of seeing 2-4 and the slapping in the face is right there after your bye. Here's your next 5 games. You've got to go to San Francisco. You play the Niners. Then you got to travel to Atlanta. Atlanta's a team that can turn it up at any time. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Philadelphia, Houston, then you got Washington in Washington. So those 5 games after the bye, not very easy. One of these games, Pittsburgh or Detroit, you've got to get that win, if not both, going into the bye.
You know what's going to happen when they play Detroit. What's going to be the hardest thing they have to defend when they play Detroit? Gibbs and Montgomery.
It's all the offensive weapons that Detroit has, which Dallas doesn't have the defense to do it with.
But you don't see a better running back tandem in the league right now.
No,
and what's the Cowboys' weakness right now? That defensive line. So that's going to be a big one to me. Micah, are we going to see Micah Parsons calling someone else out after that game? Because Detroit going to run that ball 40 times. So we'll see what happens, Cowboy fans. I hope it goes well for you, but they got a tough stretch of the next 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, these next 2 are big for Dallas and coming off that.
They could be out the playoffs by the next 5 games.
What do you think?
I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but
the next 7 games starting this weekend are brutal. So that's what I'm saying. They've got to go into the bye with either a win against Detroit or Pittsburgh or both. Both would be fantastic. But if they go 1-1, okay, thumbs up. If they go 0-2 into the bye, then you're staring at 2-4. And it's like, okay, there's got to be some kind of rumbling. Now, no firing, but there's got to be some kind of rumbling in that bye week. Something's going to have to give because.
Hey, Rudy, didn't they bring in Brandon Cooks?
Well, he's been there for a while.
Yeah, I know. That's the scary thing. Because right now, their running game is pretty much non-existent. And I'm looking at Tony Pollard.
Rico Dowdle.
I'm looking at Tony Pollard having some pretty decent games, showing some breakaway speed. And then we look at the Cowboys, Ezekiel, whatever their plan was going into the season as far as the running backs and the pass up of Derrick Henry. I'll never understand that, man.
And Ray,
I can't that doesn't make sense to me.
Ray Dean's asking, will Dallas get Devontae Adams? I'll just say this: if they passed on Derrick Henry, they're going to pass on Devontae Adams. Yeah, it's too much money.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you just paid Dak. You just paid CeeDee Lamb. You're probably going to have to pay Micah Parsons as much as I don't want you to. You're probably going to pay Micah Parsons. There's really no money left to pay Devontae Adams. I think what is his salary, like 60 million or something like that left on it? I mean, there's no way I feel they're going to do it. If they do, that's going to be a very tough cap hit. But then let me throw this back at Ray Dean and everybody else. If you go and trade for Devontae Adams, what does that do? You're struggling on the defensive side of the ball. Sure, you can put up points on the offensive side, but if you can't stop the other team from scoring, you're going to be in a shootout every single week. And that's something that when the walls start to cave in, we've seen Dak under pressure, doesn't necessarily fit his game.
It doesn't fit Adams' game either, because he's a guy, can become a malcontent. And the reason I said I see him going to the Jets is because, he's been Aaron's number one receiver throughout his career. Yeah. And when things aren't going well, sometimes you need that security blanket. And to me, Aaron is his security blanket, kind of like Brady was for Gronkowski.
Yeah.
I kind of see the same with Aaron and Devontae Adams, and I'll be stunned if he doesn't end up with the Jets, because he's going to be moved within the next 3 weeks, I believe. And I watched Antonio Pierce talk about it. He didn't want to say too much, but you could tell that he's going to be moved, and it's going to be soon.
Yeah, and one other team to look out for when it comes to Devontae, I actually have them a little bit higher than the Jets, only because I feel they can get him there, and actually they can definitely use him there as the New Orleans Saints. I mean, teaming him back up with Derek Carr. I mean, that would be you would go Olave, Adams, Rashid Shaheed, Kamara. I mean, that's what I feel would probably be the best bet for Devontae going in.
Rudy, his two preferences were the Saints or the Jets.
Okay. Yeah,
so
I didn't see
those
that
were his two preferences. He told them already those are two teams he preferred to be one or the other. So he did say that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If they're going to make a trade, the Cowboys go on the defensive side of the ball. It's just got to be the defensive side of the ball. So I think that's probably what they need to do. Nonetheless, that was our NFL preview. We'll make our picks tomorrow. We got one last segment here. It's something that we do every now and then for Derek and I, and it's our caught off guard segment. All right, Derek, you love this. You love our caught off guard segment. The 33rd team, one of our favorite pages on the internet, released the Week 5 quarterback power rankings. Here we go, man. They've got Mahomes 1, Josh Allen 2, Lamar Jackson 3, Matt Stafford at 4, CJ Stroud at 5, but Sam Darnold all the way at 19. I love it. I like catching you off guard because some of this is like, what the hell's going on? So shout out to our one of our friends out there, the 33rd team.
Rudy,
tear it up, Derek. Tear it up.
He's 19, but you got Joe Burrow number 8.
You got Brock Purdy at 12.
What are they going off of? Last season or projections before the season started? That's crazy.
See, this is based off of performances through week 4.
It is?
So if I'm assuming now, if it's based off of performances that happened in week 4, I surely think you're crazy. I mean, I'll tell you what, if it's performances based off of week 4, I do have Bo Nix at 32. I mean, what do you have? 60 yards passing, all of them to Cortland Sutton. So I'll give you that much. But I mean, Sam Darnold below Trevor Lawrence, below Brock Purdy. Aaron Rodgers didn't do anything last week if you're going to base it off of that. I mean, Geno Smith. Yeah, Burrow's another one.
I mean, come on.
I don't know, but I love showing you this stuff because I love to see you tear it up.
Cincinnati, I mean, come on. Cincinnati has kind of fallen off the wagon the last 2 years, so I don't know how they still on the Joe Burrow train. And then you got Kyler Murray. Now you got Geno Smith and Kyler Murray in the top 10. Geno, I can't argue, but tell me how he could possibly be behind Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert.
do not know, man. I don't know. I'm dumbfounded at that. And even at that, here's my problem. Look at number 11, Jordan Love. 389 yards, 4 touchdowns last weekend. His opponent, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. It was Sam Darnold. Darnold and the Vikings got the win over the Packers in Lambeau. How are you ranking Sam Darnold 19 and he's nowhere near Jordan Love at 11, even though they pretty much had similar games? But yet one came out on top in the victory. I don't get it at all. The rankings are crazy.
Top 4 times. I mean, hey, yeah, an undefeated quarterback. When the last time we even talked about Minnesota really being relevant? And then now that they're relevant and they might be the best team possibly in the league, you're going to rate their quarterback number 19, but yet Mahomes, who's also undefeated, you rate him number 1, and you rate another undefeated number 19. That's insane.
It's very insane, like very insane. Again, this is our caught off guard moment. The 33rd team on Twitter or X is the quarterback power rankings for week 5. So again, I need to ask these guys, how are you ranking the quarterbacks? Because are you ranking them going into week 5? Now, if that's the case, then, looking at some of the games, possibly. But I mean, the Lions are on a bye week, if I'm not mistaken. So why would you rank Goff ahead of everybody else?
Yeah, Goff hasn't played that great either. He's the one that's, I don't want to wish him bad luck. He's the one kind of been holding us back.
Yeah. I mean, they are on a bye. They're not playing this weekend.
We do have the best offense in the league, possibly, though, Rudy. I will say that.
I would say, yeah. I would say I agree with that. They do. They've got a very explosive offense. Goff had a tremendous week against Seattle this past Monday night. I mean, he had a tremendous game. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, the Darnold craze just has me going crazy, man. I don't get why he's number 19. What does the guy have to do? Are they waiting for him to just fall off the face of the earth? Go back to the old Sam Darnold?
Shouldn't Derek Carr be over number 20, higher than number 20?
They're basing it off of his struggles recently, but yeah, I mean, I have him over Trevor Lawrence. There's no doubt about that.
I'm confused with the list because if they basing it off his struggles, why aren't they basing it off of my favorite quarterback in the NFL struggles, Josh Allen?
He had a terrible game.
Josh played terrible and moved up to number 2.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of crazy. I'm kind of dumbfounded on that as well. To me, it's pretty it's pretty crazy. I'm trying to still get kind of get over that. I don't understand the whole thinking behind it, because right now, if I'm ranking them, Mahomes hasn't been the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, Darnold's been good. Josh Allen's been fantastic. Lamar's been fantastic. I mean, those are technically your 3 guys there. I would honestly, Derek, I would put Jordan Love top 10, maybe make a case for top 6. When he's in the game, the Packers have been, he
should be over Dak right now.
I would say so.
They got Dak number 6. I mean, they must be talking about Dak from last season. Because Dak hasn't been outstanding.
I made sure that these were the correct power rankings going into week 5 there. And then you got Anthony Richardson injured last week. So, I mean, where's Joe Flacco? He's the one that led him to, last week. So, I don't know, man. That's why I like sharing these caught off guard moments with you on Thursdays or Wednesdays.
Hey, Rudy, would Bo Nix be a little offended being ranked behind Watson? Deshaun, who would have thought after giving that man a fully guaranteed contract, we would even be looking at his name and number 31 out of 32 quarterbacks, fully guaranteed contract.
Well, I guarantee you this. Bo Nix is feeling the effects of being kicked in the nards, because being ranked below Huntley, even Levis. Yeah, it's pretty
Will Levis.
Will Levis definitely. I mean, and what are they? 3-1 or 2-2. I mean, they're not doing bad. They're doing pretty good. So, and he's
hey, you could bring Ty Dietmar out, bring him back, Ty Dietmar, and put him in the top 27. Because somebody, you looking at the way they ranking these guys, man. I mean, damn, you basically don't even have to be playing now. You can almost be retired and still get ranked.
Man, it's crazy. It is super crazy for the NFL this year. But tomorrow we're going to come back. We're going to do our NFL picks. We're going to do our NCAA picks. We'll go through our top 25 games in the NCAA. We're going to pick who's going to win those games. We'll head over to the NFL, pick all those games. Of course, we have bye weeks, so we'll get with the bye weeks. We're not going to see the Longhorns play this weekend. They play next weekend, and I believe it's the Red River rivalry game between them and Oklahoma. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. After that, they're getting ready for Georgia coming down to Austin. So it's going to be a great NCAA football weekend. Not this weekend. It's going to be good this weekend, but next weekend is going to be starting to really, really, really heat up in NCAA football. But nonetheless, man, hey, dude, we've been having a great time here at Sweep the League. We've added some shows. Bez Boys podcast. You've got Lean Right or Lean Left, Lean Right. We're in talks of bringing more shows from different content creators to Sweep the League Network. It's just getting big. You're going to catch us out at Big Texas Comic Con as well. We'll be out there. We'll be doing some live streaming there. So Derek, we're just growing, man. I got to step back and take a breather sometimes. So I'm like, wow, Shemaya texts me all the time. Another one. We got another one. I'm like, man, this is going crazy.
I'm going to see if I can help us grow more because I got one. I'm going to tell you a surprise guy that I'm hoping we could get. So I'm hoping we can get Ariana, first of all. But, we've interviewed players that are no longer in the NBA. Yeah. I want to get one that's in the NBA. And I talked to his dad earlier, but not about his son coming on the show. I want to get a guy that's a native San Antonian. I'm going to see if we can get a L.A. He was an L.A. Laker. Now he's a Milwaukee Buck, Taurean Prince.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. Taurean Prince would be a really good one to talk to as well. We're working on everything. And we appreciate, everything that Shemaya does behind the scenes. Definitely appreciate what Derek does for us here. We get an NBA athletes, players. We're doing everything we can do to provide the best content, the best show for everybody out there. So the more support we get from you guys, the more that we can do here. So we're right at 600 YouTube subscribers. The goal is 1,000. After we hit 1,000, the sky's the limit there, man.
Hey, Rudy, the goal is 10,000. Hey, if we're looking at Shannon Sharp and what's the receiver from Cincinnati? Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, and those guys. I think we belong in that same category. So we'll take it one day at a time. But yeah, sincerely, thank you for the subscribers that we already have. Let's just continue to grow.
100%, man. 100%. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We will see you guys tomorrow for our Pick'em show. Coach Jill should be back tomorrow. I'm going to text him here in a little bit, see how he's doing, make sure he's doing okay. But yeah, nonetheless, we'll be back tomorrow for our Pick'em show, 9:00. Also, heads up, next week, we'll be live on Monday night at 9:00. So we will have a Monday night show. We'll be live at 9:00. Will be my Monday, Tuesday. We'll try to do a show Wednesday during the day. If not, we'll have a rerun, but then we'll be live Thursday and Friday. So busy week again next week for you guys here. Sweep the League Network. So for Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Rudy Campos Jr., until we sweep the league again, we'll see you later, knuckleheads.
Everybody have a good night. Stay safe.
We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand stronger. We build a legacy, yeah, they know the name. STL music, it's a movement, not just a claim. Loyalty, respect, that's the code we honor. In the face of adversity, we stand stronger. Pops the mastermind, got the team what we need. 5 rings deep, we the dynasty kings. From the Alamo Dome to the bend.
Are you a hockey fan looking for the latest on the Edmonton Oilers, Pittsburgh Penguins, and NHL news of the week? Barry and Carson Bess bring it all to you on the Best Boys Center Ice podcast. They break down games, provide insider updates, and keep you up to speed every week. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and join their hockey family.
Welcome to the Lean Left, Lean Right podcast, where spirited debates and open discussions reign supreme. Join hosts Rudy and Shemaya as they dive headfirst into the hottest topics in politics and beyond. They're all about seeking common ground without losing their passion for their perspectives. If you're ready for real talk and honest opinions, subscribe now and join the conversation.
You're watching Sweep the League TV. Shout out to Rudy, Coach Gio, and Derek Irvin. Keep going, guys.
Shout out to SOTV and STL Music. I love the music, and hell yes, they paid me to say it. Commercials are not free, honey. Did you share our YouTube yet? Why not? Go watch Sweep the League TV right now and support my guys. Rudy, Kojio, Derek, and crew only talk sports and have fun. They don't have any bad vibes, just amazing fans. We love everyone.